FBI just intercepted the largest Iranian weapons shipment on U.S. soil. 89 arrested, 4.2 billion seized.
7 minutes ago, federal agents intercepted the largest Iranian weapons shipment ever attempted on American soil. 89 individuals arrested across 6 states for $0.2 billion in military-grade weapons seized before reaching Minneapolis. And at the center of this conspiracy, a network that connects Tehran, cartel operatives, and officials who swore an oath to protect this country. This is that story. January 23, 2026. 3:14 a.m. Port of Duluth Superior, Minnesota. The air temperature hovered at 7 degrees below zero. Lake Superior stretched black and infinite beyond the industrial docks, ice forming in geometric patterns along the shoreline. Sodium vapor lights cast everything in sickly yellow, turning falling snow into streams of gold against darkness. The port sat silent except for the low hum of refrigerated containers stacked 6 high across 2 acres of concrete. Inside a tactical command vehicle parked 300 yards from Dock 7, FBI Special Agent Jordan Malik stared at thermal imaging feeds showing 17 heat signatures moving between containers near the water's edge. His team had been watching this location for 9 hours, waiting for confirmation. Waiting for the moment when surveillance became action. Target vessel confirmed. A voice crackled through his earpiece. MV Caspian Horizon. Iranian flag cargo ship. Docked 47 minutes ago. Customs manifest lists industrial machinery and agricultural equipment. Thermal scans show discrepancies, metallic density consistent with weapons casing. Malik's jaw tightened. The Caspian Horizon had left Bandar Abbas port in Iran 63 days prior, made stops in Karachi and Veracruz, then entered the St. Lawrence Seaway, claiming a delivery of combine harvester parts to a farming cooperative in North Dakota. Except the farming cooperative didn't exist. The company that ordered the shipment was a shell corporation registered in Delaware, with no employees, no office, and banking records that traced to accounts in Beirut and Caracas. And intelligence intercepts from NSA had flagged communications between the ship's crew and individuals on FBI terrorism watch lists operating inside the United States. All units, this is Malik. We are execute ready. Breach on my mark in 90 seconds. Behind him, 42 federal agents from the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, ATF tactical units, and CBP special response teams checked weapons and adjusted body armor. This wasn't a standard interdiction. This was a counter-terrorism operation on domestic soil against a state-sponsored weapons pipeline that, if successful, would have armed cells across the Midwest with firepower designed for asymmetric warfare. Malik counted down in his head. 60 seconds. 45. 30. Execute. 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 Floodlights ignited across the dock, turning night into artificial day. Flashbangs detonated in rapid succession, disorienting the 17 individuals near the containers. Tactical units poured from armored vehicles, rifles raised, voices shouting commands in English and Farsi. K-9 units sprinted ahead, handlers close behind. The heat signatures scattered. Some dropped to the ground immediately, hands visible. Others ran toward the container rows, disappearing into the maze of steel. Malik moved with the lead team, boots crunching on frozen concrete. They reached the first open container within seconds. Inside, wooden crates stamped with Cyrillic markings and shipping labels identifying them as tractor parts. Agent Sarah Corrigan, an explosive specialist, used a pry bar to crack the first crate open. Inside, not tractor parts. RPG, 7 rocket launchers. 12 of them, packed in foam, still coated in protective oil. Russian-made, but the serial numbers had been filed off. Second container, another agent called out. We've got rifles. Lots of them. Malik moved to the adjacent container. Crates upon crates of AK-103 assault rifles, each wrapped in moisture-resistant plastic. Ammunition crates stacked floor to ceiling, 7.62 by 39mm rounds, armor-piercing variants, quantities sufficient for sustained military operations. Third container showing anti-material rifles, Corrigan reported, voice tight. Barrett M82 equivalents, Iranian knockoffs, 50 caliber. These punch through vehicles. Container after container revealed the same nightmare. Chinese-manufactured QBZ-95 rifles. Iranian Khyber KH, 2002 carbines. Explosives C for equivalent compounds and blocks totaling over 800 kilograms. Detonators, timers, And in one container, something that made Malik's blood freeze. Man-portable air defense systems. Man-pads. Shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles designed to bring down aircraft. 16 of them. Secure the perimeter, Malik ordered, voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding his system. No one leaves this dock. I want every container opened, every crate cataloged, and every individual detained separately for interrogation. By 4:47 a.m., the scope was undeniable. 17 containers held weapons instead of machinery. The estimated street value, $4.2 billion. Enough firepower to equip a small military force. Enough explosives to level city blocks. And enough anti-aircraft capability to create a no-fly zone over American cities if deployed strategically. This wasn't smuggling. This was an act of war disguised as commerce. If you want to see how deep this goes, hit like right now. The detained individuals weren't talking. 17 men, ages ranging from 23 to 56. 12 carried Iranian passports. 3 held Venezuelan identification. 2 were American citizens. They invoked rights to counsel immediately, offered no statements, and showed zero signs of panic. These weren't amateurs caught off guard. They were operatives trained for contingencies. But federal agents had learned long ago that silence from suspects doesn't mean silence from evidence. Forensic teams swept the Caspian horizon from bow to stern. In the captain's quarters, encrypted satellite phones. In the crew mess, a laptop hidden inside a false-bottom storage locker. The laptop's hard drive contained shipping manifests, not the sanitized versions filed with customs, but the real manifests. 23 separate weapons shipments over the past 14 months. Destinations included ports in Los Angeles, Newark, Houston, and Charleston. Minneapolis was the 18th successful delivery, which meant 17 prior shipments had already reached American soil. Agent Corrigan worked the digital evidence while Malik coordinated with FBI field offices across the country. Within 2 hours, raids were being executed simultaneously in 7 cities. Warehouses in Los Angeles linked to the same shell corporation. Storage facilities in Newark registered to individuals whose financial records showed wire transfers from accounts in Tehran. Safe houses in Houston where surveillance had flagged unusual activity. By 9:30 a.m., the arrest count had climbed to 43. By noon, it reached 61. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. One of the American citizens detained at the dock, a man named Marcus Holloway, 34 years old, from Bloomington, Minnesota, broke during interrogation. Not because of legal pressure or tactical questioning, but because of something simpler: fear. "You don't understand," Holloway told Agent Malik, hands shaking. "They said this was about resistance, about standing up to imperialism. They never told us this was terrorism. I thought we were moving supplies for activists. Not this. Not weapons that could kill thousands." Malik leaned forward. "Who recruited you?" Holloway hesitated, then spoke a name that sent shockwaves through the investigation. Lieutenant David Ruiz, Minneapolis Police Department, gang unit. He said he had connections, that there was money and logistics, that we'd be helping people fight back against oppression. The room went silent. A police officer. Not just any officer, a lieutenant with 15 years on the force, commendations for community policing, and access to intelligence databases that tracked criminal networks and terrorism investigations. Comment exposed if you're ready to see who sold us out. Within 3 hours, FBI Internal Affairs units had Lieutenant Ruiz under surveillance. His home in Edina, Minnesota. His vehicle. His phone. Investigators pulled financial records going back 5 years. What they found was a textbook case of corruption hidden behind middle-class normalcy. Ruiz earned $73,000 annually as a police lieutenant. Yet his bank accounts showed deposits totaling over $1.9 million in the past 18 months. Wire transfers from shell companies. Cash deposits just under the $10,000 reporting threshold. Real estate purchases in Arizona and Florida under LLCs he controlled. And encrypted communications with individuals in Tehran, Caracas, and Tijuana. Ruiz hadn't just facilitated logistics. He'd provided intelligence. Surveillance schedules. Federal investigation targets. Safe routes through Minneapolis for transporting weapons from the port to distribution points across the Midwest. He'd used his badge and his access to betray every officer who'd ever trusted him, every citizen who'd believed the system protected them, and every value law enforcement claimed to represent. Type betrayal if you want to see who wore the badge while serving enemies. The takedown happened at 6:47 p.m., that same day. Ruiz was at his desk in the Minneapolis Police Department headquarters, reviewing case files. FBI agents entered the building with arrest warrants signed by a federal judge and cooperation from Minneapolis Police Chief Rebecca Morrison, who'd been briefed on the investigation only hours before. Ruiz saw them coming. His hand moved toward his service weapon. "Don't," Agent Malik said quietly, weapon drawn. "You're done." Ruiz froze. Then his shoulders sagged. No resistance. No dramatic final stand. Just a man who'd gambled on corruption and lost. In his department locker, agents found a second encrypted phone, a ledger documenting payments for services rendered, and handwritten notes detailing upcoming federal operations he'd planned to leak. In his personal vehicle, a go bag containing $47,000 in cash, fake identification documents, and plane ticket to Caracas dated for January 26th, 3 days away. He'd been preparing to run. By midnight, coordinated raids across 6 states had netted 89 arrests. Weapons distributors in Chicago, cartel intermediaries in Phoenix, financial facilitators in Miami, and in Los Angeles, the mastermind, a man named Reza Ahmadi, an Iranian national operating under diplomatic cover as a cultural attaché at Iran's interests section within the Pakistani embassy in Washington, D.C. Ahmadi had been using diplomatic immunity as a shield while coordinating the largest weapons trafficking operation ever attempted against the United States. His arrest required coordination between the FBI, State Department, and CIA. Diplomatic immunity was revoked within hours. He was detained not as a diplomat, but as an enemy combatant engaged in acts of war against American citizens. The seized evidence told the full story. For $0.2 billion in weapons, 17 prior shipments totaling an additional estimated $11 billion in arms already distributed across the United States. Networks spanning Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps operatives, Venezuelan cartel logistics, and compromised American officials who'd sold access for cash. This wasn't crime. This was infrastructure for asymmetric warfare on American soil. February 12, 2026. United States District Court, District of Minnesota. Lieutenant David Ruiz stood before the judge, stripped of his badge, his uniform, and any remaining dignity. The courtroom was filled with officers from the Minneapolis Police Department, colleagues who'd worked beside him, trusted him, and now stared with expressions ranging from disbelief to rage. "You didn't just betray your oath," Judge Catherine Walsh stated from the bench. "You weaponized the very authority granted to you to protect and serve. You enabled a foreign adversary to position military-grade weapons throughout American cities. The potential casualty count of your actions, had these weapons been deployed, could have numbered in the thousands." Ruiz received 26 years in federal maximum security. No possibility of parole. Reza Ahmadi, tried under terrorism statutes, received life imprisonment without parole. The 74 other defendants received sentences ranging from 8 years to life, depending on their roles in the conspiracy. But sentencing couldn't undo the damage. $11 billion in weapons were still unaccounted for, distributed through networks federal agents were still mapping. Recovery operations continued across the country, but investigators acknowledged that some caches would likely never be found. One recovering weapons cache turned up in a storage unit in Detroit, enough explosives to level a city block. Another was discovered in a farmhouse outside Omaha, anti-tank weapons and armor-piercing ammunition. Each discovery validated the nightmare. America had been infiltrated by military-grade arsenals designed for maximum destruction. At a closed congressional hearing, Agent Malik was asked the question everyone feared. Could this happen again? His answer was blunt. It's happening right now. We caught this operation. But how many others are running that we haven't detected? How many officials have been compromised that we don't know about? How many shipments made it through ports we weren't watching? One officer from the Minneapolis Police Department, speaking anonymously, said it plainly: "We train to protect people from external threats. But when the threat is sitting at the desk next to you, wearing the same uniform, how do you defend against that? You can't. Trust becomes a weapon. And once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild." This story is a fictional dramatization, but the vulnerabilities it explores are not fiction. Ports process millions of containers annually. Customs inspections are limited by resources and time. Encrypted communications allow coordination across borders with minimal detection risk. And corruption, the willingness of individuals in positions of authority to betray their responsibilities for financial gain, remains a persistent weakness in every security system. Federal agencies have increased cargo inspections, enhanced intelligence sharing with international partners, and implemented stricter vetting for personnel with access to sensitive operations. Technology like AI-driven anomaly detection scans shipping manifests for irregularities. Whistleblower protections have been strengthened to encourage reporting of suspicious activity. But systems are only as strong as the people operating them. And people are vulnerable to ideology, to financial pressure, to coercion, and to the seductive belief that they won't be caught. Power doesn't always need ideology. Sometimes it only needs opportunity, silence, and individuals willing to compromise integrity for personal gain. The 89 arrests in this operation disrupted one network. But networks are resilient. They adapt. They find new routes, new facilitators, and new methods. The question isn't whether another attempt will be made. The question is whether we'll be watching when it happens. Hit subscribe so you see what happens when institutional trust collides with corruption. Share this video so people understand how enemies exploit the systems designed to protect us. Comment vigilance below if you believe security requires constant scrutiny of those entrusted with authority. Tap like so more people see this story and understand that threats don't always come from outside our borders. Sometimes they come from within. Because the next shipment is already being planned. The next official is already being recruited. And the only defense is awareness, accountability, and the refusal to assume that badges and titles automatically equal loyalty.